My name is Bengie Leverett. I'm the Fire Education Officer for the Columbia Fire Department, and I've been with the department for 12 years. We're here to talk about fire safety, dealing with holiday, fireworks, heating safety, and maybe some smoke alarm or carbon monoxide. It's very important this time of year to discuss these things because during the winter season, that's when we get most of our fire fatalities and injuries, so we want to make sure we get the needed information out to the people to ensure that they get safe. There's a lot of people use space heaters, and I'm not against that, but we also recommend they use it according to manufacturer specifications. The general rule of thumb is 3 feet. You want to keep 3 feet away from anything combustibles, including carpet. It's best to put it on a hard surface like hardwood or maybe some type of towel. And the reason why 3 feet, you don't want any kid or even a pet to kind of knock it over. And also, you don't want it too close to things like beds or carpets or any type of fabric that can actually catch on fire. If you're not there, even though they do sell some that has timers on it, anything that's man-made is subject to fail. So it's always best to have someone there while they have space heaters on. In particular, when people going to sleep, they sleep with it on. That's not a good thing to do because sometimes they can fail as well. Make sure you have a guard in front of it, and you have also wood burning or gas. If you have a gas fireplace, you need a carbon monoxide alarm, which we can provide that for free as well. And another thing too is another 3 feet as well. Keep 3 feet from anything combustible around it. And if you use it on a regular basis, I would recommend getting the service and or clean once a year. Any type of fuel that burns and emits some type of level of carbon monoxide, you can't see it, it's tasteless, it's colorless, it's odorless. The only way you can know that you have carbon monoxide is if you have a detector inside. Give me a call at 803-545-4162, or we also have our online request form as well, that the emails will come directly to me, ColumbiaRichlandFire.net, and I can give the information, and then we contact them and schedule a time where we can come and install it. Normally, when you cut your heat on for the first time during the season, you may smell a little what seems like smoke, but more than likely, that's like the dust that's in the heater coils. I wouldn't say don't call 911, but if you feel there's a need to do so, go ahead and do that as well. Depending on what you're cooking, if you're baking something or you have like a crock pot, you don't have to be there the whole time when you're cooking, but if you're frying something, yes, you don't want to leave it unattended. Unattended cooking is the #1 cause of residential house fires. And also, again, be mindful of how you got your handles. You don't want them pointing to the outside, particularly for you and even with kids. They can knock it over, get a grease fire, and even actually start a fire in there as well. Another thing too, if you're on medication that may get you drowsy, it's not best to cook when you're taking that medication as well. Again, I think the unattended cooking is the biggest thing. You're trying to do too many things at one time, not being mindful of where you have your pot holders, anything flammable. You don't want to keep it too close to the stove. And again, with a gas stove as well, making sure that you have the proper spacing away from things that are combustible. Not only do we install carbon monoxide alarm, we also install smoke alarms. The ones that we have 10-year lithium batteries. We got them from Red Cross. They have a goal to install 50,000 by the end of 2017. So they provide us with them, and again, they get in contact with us, and we go out and install them. But we also recommend people to check them once a month. Hit the test button, make sure they work, and also get a little shop vac and clean out all the dust out of them, because sometimes that dust can cause it to malfunction as well. Smoke alarms are only good for 10 years. And sometimes we get complacent, and sometimes people will take the batteries out of them when they're cooking or whatnot. So you want to make sure it works, because just by having them, that gives you at least 70 to 80% chance of you getting out of the home. For a lot of homes, that's the only notification they have of a fire. And safety is #1, and so you always want to make sure you test those once a month. You don't want to be too creative with it. What I mean by that is you don't want to have fun, but you want to do it in a safe manner. Particularly, I would not recommend having kids do it. If you do, monitor them very closely. Make sure when you're outside, look at the wind. Make sure it's not blowing so high or so fast. If you have a lot of trees in your background around your yard, I wouldn't recommend doing that, because it don't take much for fireworks to get in a certain direction and start a fire as well. And also, you don't want to use commercial fireworks like you see in big places. You want to use the one that you purchase at the store. These sparkles, they look innocent, but they get up to almost 2,000 degrees. So they're very dangerous. It takes 900 degrees to melt glass. So to give you an idea how dangerous that is, the little sparkles that people use and run around with, you can really get burned real quick, and you just have to start a fire. You always want to do it according to the manufacturer's, instructions or whatnot. And again, I wouldn't recommend anybody shooting fireworks by themselves, and to make sure that you're in a place in the open field where there's not a lot of trees, or even grass can catch on fire if you got enough of it, shrubbery, things of that nature. Just be mindful of your surroundings. Be mindful of what you have set up outside with your Christmas decorations, and even inside with your holiday decorations inside. You don't want to overdo it with the overloading of the circuits. And also particularly with kids, and particularly with pets as well. You want to make it where it's not, things won't tip over or cause an issue.